What's going on, everybody? King of Dragons 5000 here, coming at you with another figure review. Today we'll be having a look at the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Death of the Family Nightwing. And so here we have the Death of the Family Nightwing posed and out of the packaging. Before we take a look at the figure, let's actually run through Nightwing's accessories really fast. Nightwing does come with two S-Chroma sticks which do fit into his hands nicely, and if you don't want him holding them, they do store on his back, which is a really nice look. And then of course he gets the McFarlane display stand. Other than that, Nightwing doesn't come with anything else, so let's actually have a closer look at the figure. So here we have the Death of the Family Nightwing, and he looks amazing. Now this isn't a figure I was really too excited about, but having him in hand, I really do like this face sculpt. This is probably one of the best heads that McFarlane has made. Unfortunately, this Nightwing still carries over the same problems that the original Nightwing figure did have, which was also the 2-pack Nightwing, and now this figure. But overall, really loving this head sculpt. This is a very sinister, disgusting looking head, and it just fits the storyline, and they did a fantastic job with this figure. Just look at the teeth. The teeth have a really nice detail to them. You see the red smile on the lips right there, then the yellow teeth, and then we do have some wash in there. It looks so disgusting. It's awesome. I even like the tousled hair that he has right here. If only there was a way to give this hair to the other Nightwing, I think that would also look really nice. I don't know what it is about the tousled hair. I think it looks better than the nice and combed look, but still a very nice looking head sculpt, and I'll give McFarlane credit. They did a fantastic job just stretching out that face, and you can see it looks like his skin is being stretched, which is an amazing little detail. Now, if only we can get a Death of the Family Joker, I think that would be so nice, and McFarlane can do so much with that figure. So, with the head sculpt out of the way, let's actually take a look at his torso. Now, again, this is the exact same torso that we saw with the first Nightwing figure from DC Rebirth, and then the New 52 Nightwing. There's really nothing different about this figure, so if you were expecting new parts to be used for it, unfortunately, the head is the only new part. Now, I do have him with his S-Chroma sticks right here on the back, and you can see they do store really nicely. They don't fall out whatsoever, so they do clip in really tightly. And then what more can you expect, or could you want out of storage, that it just holds everything in place without getting loose? One thing to note about this figure, I feel like the paint kind of missed its mark. I can bring in the 2-pack Nightwing really fast, and you can see the paint on this one seems like it's a little bit sloppier. You can see the edges right here don't have any paint on them versus this one where the paint went all the way to the edge. I don't know if that was a design choice or if they just didn't do it for this figure, but it is kind of noticeable. But at the same time, it does give the illusion that it has a black outline around it. I don't know if I've decided if that's a good or bad thing. I think that's entirely subjective, but it kind of looks cool, I'm not going to lie. If only it was the same consistency here at his arms, where we see it just slightly miss the bottom, as you can see right there. This one slightly misses the bottom here too. But it's entirely up to you what you guys want to think. If you think this looks good with a black outline, then that's up to you entirely. He still has these really lanky arms, which do seem a little bit short, but they're actually normal size. It's just they're really thin, but they still have all the detail you would expect into them. We even have the buckle, which is nicely painted. Tiny little hands, unfortunately. Nightwing here, unfortunately, gifted with the baby hands, which I don't like those baby hands one bit. Still loving the texture on his costume. Really think that's a nice little detail that you don't see it in the comics, but McFarlane was nice enough to include some texture and panel lining onto this suit, and it does a good job of bringing out some detailing. You can see a contrast in textures, which is always a good thing. But yeah, it looks really nice, and we do have some panel lining, which works really nice. And then we have his red boots right here, which have this really nice trim to them. I don't think that he had the trim in New 52. I'm going to have to double check that, but I want to say this is a Rebirth thing, not a New 52 thing. And then of course he has the feet, which have the treads just on the outside, unfortunately, but he does stand pretty well for a figure So yeah, I really can't fault them too much on this. It is a complete reuse with the exception of that head, which is probably the best thing about this figure. So with that out of the way, guys, let's actually get them compared to other figures you may have in your collection. Here we have Nightwing posed next to a Marvel Legends Cyclops and a DC Multiverse Superman. Here we have Nightwing posed next to a WWE Elite Scale figure and a Mezco 1/12 Collective Popeye the Sailor Man. Here we have Nightwing posed next to a Lightning Collection White Ranger and a Star Wars Black Series Mandalorian. And finally, here we do have the Death of the Family Nightwing posed next to the New 52 Nightwing and the Rebirth Nightwing. So with the comparisons out of the way, let's actually move on to his articulation. Now, Nightwing here does have a double ball joint here at the head, so he can look up to about that far. Can't really look that far down, which is a little bit unfortunate. He gets better upwards movement than he does downwards movement. We do have some really nice head tilt, so we can get some really creepy poses out of this figure. Really loving that ball joint, and of course he does turn left and right, no problem. He does have somewhat of a ball joint here at the neck. You can see where the costume meets the neck. He does have somewhat of a ball joint, which does help with posing. He has a ball joint here in the shoulder, which does pivot back and forward a little bit. Pivots up and down. He does have a hinge which goes better than 90 degrees, so I really do like that. Goes all the way around, no problem. We have a standard bicep swivel. Double bend here at the elbow. Kind of stiff on mine, but it still works. We do have a ball hinge here at the wrist, which does go up and down, no problem. And then we can rotate that joint to have in and out hinge, and that works just as fine, and then rotates on that pin. We have a single ball joint here and the torso. Now, unfortunately, because it is an older sculpt, it is fairly limited going forward and back. Lower joint kind of works a little bit better. Going back works so much better. Going to the back, to the side, works no problem. Rotates really fine, and we have rotation up here at this joint and right down here at his waist. Legs do kick forward to about right there, no problem. They kick back, out to the side. Ooh, I forgot that Nightwing has an issue that when you have his torso posed a certain way, it limits his articulation. But going out to the side, you can get one leg horizontal, but unfortunately the other leg can't go that distance. No thigh swivel, but he does have double bend here at the knee. Goes all the way back, no problem. We do have rotation here at the ball joint, or should I say the ankle. Goes back and forward, no problem. We have a forward-facing pin for rocker ankle, and then when we combine both those joints, we do get a true rocker ankle. And then finally, he does have a toe hinge, a very generous toe hinge at that. So that's Nightwing for you guys. There's really not much more to say about his design. It's something we've seen before, but still a really nice looking figure. So with that out of the way, guys, let's actually get him posed for my final thoughts, and then we'll wrap up this review. And so here we have the McFarlane Death of the Family Nightwing posed for my final thoughts, and overall, I really do like this figure. I'm not going to lie, I'm enjoying it more than I thought. I think it's the head sculpt on this figure. The head really did sell me on this figure, and when I saw it initially, I was unsure about it, but having it in hand, this is definitely one of those figures that looks better in hand than it does in pictures. That head is just a selling point for me. Even though I already have this particular version of Nightwing in two forms, I have the New 52 and the Rebirth version. This is still a really nice version of Nightwing to have, and if you're into the whole multiverse thing, this could be your version of the Nightwing Who Laughs. So if you do have a Batman Who Laughs figure, maybe these two can be partners. It's not from the same storyline, but if you have a creative imagination, you can definitely use them as a evil dynamic duo, which I think that's a fantastic thing you can do. This Nightwing isn't going to be everyone's cup of tea. I do understand that a lot of people don't like this body, and I can see why. The arms are really thin, and those ball joints are very, very exposed. McFarlane's doing a better job of hiding the ball joints, but this is being from his initial release of the figures. I can see why people would be turned off, seeing as how he didn't modify anything on this figure. But that's not to say he's a bad figure. There's just things that you will have to overlook, like those really big ball joints and somewhat limited articulation, although that seems to be a common issue with McFarlane figures, especially with the abs. If if you do find this figure in stores and you're on the fence about it, I would say definitely give it a try. If it's not for you, you can always return it or sell it to somebody who is looking for it. This Nightwing will run you about $19, so about $21 after taxes. So if you are looking for a Nightwing Death of the Family, you can check your local Targets, Walmarts, Amazon, and anywhere else you can pick up DC Multiverse figures. So, with that being said, guys, I'm KingofDragons 5000. Don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel. Go ahead and check out all my other action figure reviews as well as all my other DC Multiverse videos. Hopefully you find them informative. As always, if there's a figure you'd like to see me review, let me know down in the comments. And if it fits in my collection, I'll definitely have a look at it. While you're at it, check out my Instagram account for new and exciting action figure photos. And as always, ring that bell to be notified every time I upload a video. Until next time, guys, I'll see you later. Take care, everyone.